Al otro día, el 21 de mayo, Andrés Rangel, del área de desarrollo de proyectos del Banco de Desarrollo para América del Norte, en representación del director gerente de esta institución, Jerónimo Gutiérrez, señaló que se debe reflexionar sobre la participación de las comunidades en proyectos de infraestructura verde y se debe tener una participación integral entre el gobierno y la sociedad civil.
We can partner as NatBank, as BEC, with the states, with the communities, with the counties, with other organizations and NGOs to try to see how we can bring these projects into implementation. So there's a commitment from NatBank to work with any community along the border that has the interest in implementing these type of projects to work together to try to find solutions in how to invest in these projects, how for, in our case, be able to lend some funds so that the communities can build this type of infrastructure and eventually provide those benefits to their citizens. Today, we're looking forward to hear about the benefits in the human health of these type of projects, as well as the economic impacts that we're going to be listening later of these projects in our communities, and then wrap up the whole forum with a site visit to a neighborhood here in Tucson, where we're going to be able to experience firsthand the benefits of some green infrastructure that has been implemented here and that can be copied and implemented in other communities along the border.
Después vino la ponencia magistral 4, Beneficios en Salud Humana y Comunitaria de la Infraestructura, presentada por Richard Jackson, de la Escuela de Salud Pública de la Universidad de California en Los Ángeles. El reconocido experto se refirió a los beneficios que tiene la salud con la infraestructura verde.
Demographics, the folks that watch public broadcasting tend to have more influence in their communities than perhaps some of the commercial stations. And so more and more communities in America are now beginning to realize that how we build is influencing people's health. We have an environment that is obesogenic. That may be hard to translate, but is basically making people obese. We have an environment where we add antibiotics to food, and probably 5 of the pounds are from the antibiotics. We've doubled diabetes in the United States in the last 15 to 20 years. 2% of all the money in the United States goes to just taking care of diabetes. There's no place to buy healthy food that people aren't going to eat healthy food. If there's no fruits and vegetables are twice as expensive as in 1980, people are going to eat lots more sugar, fat, and salt and fast food. It's obvious if there's no place to walk, people aren't going to walk. It's obvious if half the parks in Atlanta you can't get into unless you have a car. Can you imagine that? Half the parks in Atlanta you have to drive to get into, and if you happen to be poor, disabled, and not have a car, you can't even get to the park.
Posteriormente inició el panel 3, Diseño de Vialidades y Estacionamientos. La primera ponente, Sheena Hughes, de Stantec, presentó una ponencia titulada Diseño de Vialidades Sustentables Multimodales. Su presentación explicó el diseño vial en vialidades multimodales en Estados Unidos. La ponente resaltó los avances que en materia de accesibilidad ha tenido la política pública.
And really, it is an opportunity to incorporate some of those multimodal components that haven't necessarily been considered as you're going through and looking at developing the roadway network. And really, what does a sustainable roadway look like? It really doesn't look significantly different than the roads we build today. It just has added features. And when we look at that, we look at how we are doing pedestrian and bicycle access. It's looking at incorporating the natural environment into what we're doing, incorporating art into what we do, as well as coming up with context-sensitive systems and designs that allow us to develop a set of infrastructure that takes into consideration all the elements that are associated with constructing new infrastructure. And really, part of this is to bring back in the native vegetation, deal with some of the drainage issues, and use those to the benefit of what infrastructure we're building. I've got this concept of the complete streets And what we did, this is just a sample from Green Building in terms of what a complete street looks like. We had a street in Chandler where I was the city engineer, and we were trying to take the scale of the street down from a 6-lane arterial to a infrastructure that would be going through the downtown. So the standard speed on the roadway when we started the project was in excess of 45 miles an hour. So that was what the traffic was that was going through downtown. We're not just talking about roads when we talk about infrastructure and transportation. So it's a multimodal approach. And here what we were looking at is we had our Stantec team was looking at an area that we had the city wanting to incorporate more bicycle activity, which if you looked at this, you can't quite figure out where you'd put a bicycle. They wanted to incorporate a lot of residential neighborhoods are in this same area, and they wanted to be able to protect some very environmentally sensitive bald eagles. So when you looked at what they were trying to do here is they had such a significant increase in the amount of rail traffic that needed to be able to get to the port. They needed to remove some of the at-grade crossings for the roadway. And they wanted to be able to do this in what was a very confined area. So they did a ton of public outreach. So I've given you kind of an overview of what Envision can do. It is an opportunity to engage your public officials. It gives them an opportunity to see a holistic approach where you bring multiple groups of stakeholders together and address the overall concerns for a project and give you the opportunity to see what that looks like in terms of a delivered project, a constructed project that will bring you the opportunity to deal with that multimodal integration.
La siguiente ponencia, Estacionamiento Park and Ride, fue presentado por Tom Kaczmarowski de Glendale, Arizona. Esta presentación aborda el caso desarrollado en Glendale en donde se desarrolla una nueva forma de pavimentos permeables que permiten la infiltración del agua pluvial.
Low impact design is the same concept as green infrastructure down here in Tucson. They're called different terminologies, probably regional applications. There's a lot of benefits that come from stormwater. You can see stormwater, as we all know, is just what falls out of the sky. According to the MPDES and EPA quantifications, that's all it is the rainwater. As it hits the ground, it starts picking up constituents along the way. Rainwater in and of itself is not harmful. The low impact design or the green infrastructure approach is you want to manage that stormwater. It used to just be let go, looked as a byproduct or an undesirable quantity, and as you realize the philosophy is changing that we can use this stormwater. So what are some options to do to try to get rid of the concrete pavement or the asphalt pavement? There's a lot of products out there. There's geopavers. There is geogrids that are enable vehicles to park on them. There's paving blocks we've all seen, and there's also open lattice paving blocks. What these do is these allow the stormwater, unlike Portland cement, concrete pavement, or asphalt, actually allows it to get through and capture some of that stormwater and actually use it as an attribute. They also reduce the heat island effect that we've all heard about. I'll have a slide a bit later from project down up in Phoenix, I should say. Pervious asphalt is used, but not in Arizona, not in the arid Southwest. It was tried once in Phoenix and promptly fell apart because it's too hot to support the traffic loads and such. It gets very viscous when you get those kind of temperatures. It has that look that allows the water to actually run through the matrix, captures oil, captures everything because it doesn't flow off the site. The park and ride facility that we'll talk about today, I'm not sure who's been at the Cardinal Stadium. It sits right here. Here's the Loop 101 freeway in Glendale Avenue. The facility is actually right here. You can see we developed half of it. It's about 390 spaces built out. This is for future expansion, these two lots. Currently there is asphalt millings on them to minimize the runoff, keep the dust down, et cetera, et cetera. But relative to the Cardinal Stadium, that's where this facility sits. So this is a quick technical screen, I should say. Average strength, or about what you would expect in a low-strength concrete, 2,100 PSI. Unit weights, temperature, only one load. Our specifications allowed a load to be rejected if it was greater than 95 degrees. We only rejected one load in 2.5 months of placement, which is pretty good. And I think that lends itself to placing at night. Stockpiles were pre-wet at the plant to try to get those temperatures down. And the reason it drains so well, you can see the amount of voids in the structure. There's 27% voids in that structure. That can draw on the magnitude. It will take about 700 inches of rain an hour. So water will run right through it as fast as you can put on it. I've seen 5,000-gallon water trucks full open onto the pavement. It might flow 4 feet to get away, but everything disappears directly through that pavement.
Mostró algunos de los principales resultados de la implementación de esta técnica en un periodo de 7 años. Después de algunos años de su implementación, se tuvieron algunas grietas menores. Hubo un deterioro superficial a lo largo de 5 años. Manchas por aceite de carro. Posterior a 7 años de su instalación, no se han realizado mayores ajustes ni reparaciones al pavimento instalado.
Has it worked? I think it's exceeded all of our expectations internally. Certainly mine with my materials background. As an engineer, it's held up much, much better to this point than I would have ever anticipated. Maintenance is ongoing, but you have that with any surface treatment. Use is about 70 or 80% during the day, and it's been so successful. We're doing a new park and ride on the north side of the city. We're looking at using pervious up there as well. It'll provide an additional benefit as it would in Tucson or in Mexico, in that park and ride is adjacent to the new river.
Terminó el panel con la experiencia de un diseño de vialidades de Cocorit, Sonora. Suelos permeables, responsabilidad social, ecológica y ambiental. Una reflexión urbana social a cargo de Mónica Escobedo de Ecomunidad AC de Cocorit, Sonora.
Este proyecto nace con la intención, hace 8 años, en el 2007, de revestir una vialidad en un poblado pequeño de Cajeme, en el sur del estado de Sonora, minimizando el impacto que generaría el hecho de pavimentar esta vialidad en los vecinos. Es un pueblo que se encuentra el 50% todavía con sus vialidades sin revestir de manera formal, y que generaba todo este tipo de encharcamientos, sigue generando en las vialidades que tenemos un suelo sumamente arcilloso, eminentemente agrícola, en un valle que es eminentemente agrícola, y el reto era pavimentar una de las vialidades importantes sin impactar ni social, ni ambiental, ni económicamente a los vecinos. Elegimos para este proyecto una combinación de formalización del revestimiento de esta vialidad a través de la técnica de insertar el agua a través de pozos de absorción, que son pozos de infiltración, que dentro de la clasificación del autor que menciono más adelante aparece como una de las últimas. Las ventajas, pues tenemos que evitar las inundaciones superficiales en terrenos que no son permeables, como ya lo dijimos, evitar charcos y zonas lodosas o intransitables, no solamente para el vehículo. En este caso estamos hablando de un pueblo, de una zona rural en donde todavía la peatonalización es muy importante, e incluso la andanza a través de animales, caballos. Es más sencillo, económico, las ventajas que una red de alcantarillado pluvial, el hecho de que estableciéramos estos pozos de infiltración, evita incluir el flujo pluvial a la red sanitaria, que rebosa las redes sanitarias en nuestras ciudades mexicanas. Inconveniencias, bueno, siempre existe la posibilidad de las impurezas o residuos que vamos a vertir directamente hacia el manto freático, la insuficiencia por flujo y colmarse o rebosarse, el desbordamiento, el mantenimiento que es necesario a las bocas de ingreso, a los pozos de infiltración, la ubicación a por lo menos a 30 metros de algún pozo de extracción para evitar la contaminación. A 8 años de construido, que esto es nuestra comprobación del éxito de trabajo, a 8 años de construido, bueno, la vegetación ha cubierto la zona, porque la permeabilidad no se ha ido solamente al manto freático, sino que ha permitido también como estábamos esperando, que la vegetación en torno a esta zona de humedad pues propiciara estos espacios. Además, logramos que fuera la infiltración más profunda y que no reventara el asfalto que puso el ayuntamiento en algunas de las zonas donde no pudimos adoquinar por falta de recursos. El mantenimiento es sencillo, eso se embellece, se retiene la humedad bajando las temperaturas en una zona en donde llegamos a los 52 grados centígrados en el verano. En cuanto al impacto social, bueno, embellecimos una zona que estaba completamente pues abandonada y la gente circula, y si se fijan hay muchos más peatones que vehículos, dado que es un poblado rural, pero se circula con mucha mayor comodidad, y metimos plantas de la región.
Dentro de los comentarios del tercer panel, Vicente López Urueta, director del Instituto Municipal de Investigación y Planeación de Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, destacó los siguientes puntos de las presentaciones. Importancia en la recarga de los acuíferos mediante infraestructura verde, derecho e inclusión a la ciudad para todos los ciudadanos, generación de calidad de vida para la ciudadanía, incidencia de las nuevas generaciones en proyectos que beneficien el ambiente.
Los ciudadanos tenemos el derecho a la ciudad, yo le llamaría el derecho a la ciudad. Yo creo que en las últimas décadas nos hemos empeñado, todas las ciudades del mundo, a darle las facilidades a los vehículos y a olvidarnos de los ciudadanos, a de alguna manera privilegiar las inversiones para que haya más capacidad de conducir vehículos que mejor calidad de vida para sus ciudadanos. En Ciudad Juárez desde hace 15, 20 años ya se tiene la exigencia que haya diques y pozos de absorción en los nuevos desarrollos habitacionales. Sin embargo, hasta últimas fechas fue que logramos que un porcentaje aparte de la donación que va para equipamiento, que es el 6%, y el 6% para áreas verdes, aparte, según sea la zona de la ciudad, va desde el 4 hasta el 7% extra para la captación y el manejo del agua pluvial. Creo que es un avance en lo que podemos ir conformando nuestras ciudades. La filosofía ahí y lo que estamos trabajando es en proyectos tendientes a que se atrape el agua y se infiltre ahí mismo, porque tenemos la ventaja de que es un agua limpia, que todavía no cruza la ciudad y que todavía no se contamina. A conclusión de esto, yo quisiera parafrasear un par de acciones que he escuchado en otros foros, en los cuales dice que una ciudad con desarrollo no es aquella que le da automóviles a los pobres, sino la que sube al transporte público a los ricos de la ciudad, que esas son las ciudades con desarrollo.
Por último, se presentó la ponencia magistral 5, Aspectos Económicos de la Infraestructura Verde, por parte de Irene Ogata, gerente de jardinería urbana de la ciudad de Tucson.
What is entailed in doing a cost-benefit analysis? Well, you can hire a consultant to do it, and depending on exactly what you want, it could cost maybe $30,000 or more, and it may just be a snapshot in time and a one-time analysis. Or, for me, the sweet spot for this software was, once you own the software and you know how to run it, you can do it on multiple projects, multiple times, anytime you want to do it, anytime during the design and construction of that project. Sometimes we need to adjust the economic analysis, because what this did not capture was what Dr. Jackson was talking about this morning, the mental health aspect and the accessibility to fresh foods. That was not in the calculations. So we need to rethink how to put that value into that calculator. But then we also want to say now is, what is the range of benefits? So in the municipal world, this is more about what's the triple bottom line? What is the social, the economical, and the environmental benefits of that infrastructure? And this is where the economists are really great, because they're starting to, if you see the metrics, they're starting to monetize that social and environmental benefits. And they have a standard. These economists across the board, if you ask any one of them to do that study, they're going to approach it somewhat in the same way. They have somewhat the same methodology and somewhat standardized metrics.
Además de los beneficios económicos directos, se debe pensar a largo plazo y ver los bienes sociales y ambientales que traerá consigo el proyecto de infraestructura verde. Por ejemplo, beneficios sociales, reducción de inundaciones, áreas y vías verdes, beneficios en la salud humana, beneficios ambientales, mejoramiento en la calidad del agua, mejoramiento en la calidad del aire, reducción del estrés por calor en el área urbana. Beneficios económicos, aumento en el valor de las propiedades y generación de empleos verdes.
For Tucson, what I'm going to go over today is we're going to look at the cost-benefit analysis in terms of the triple bottom line. That's what I'm looking at right now. And then the method we used was the software. We either used AutoCase or what's called a business case evaluator. The business case evaluator is a free software, and it is an Excel spreadsheet. And then the metrics, the same metrics that all economists look at, and most important is how are they monetizing some of these, what they call externalities. The externalities are those services and commodities that never really can be priced in the open market. The value is in the community. We're creating a great community. So it's almost what Dr. Jackson was saying this morning. We're designing something right so that the community benefits. We're not designing for the driver of that roadway, but we're designing for the community, for the pedestrian, for the bike rider, to get out there, to be able to walk in that community.